In this AutoCAD tutorial video, we will be demonstrating how to set up industry standard text styles. We will set up a text style called Mtext for mechanical text, which will use the Arial font, and we will set up a text style called Arch Text, which is for architectural text, and we'll use the Stylus BT font. So to get started here, we want to deploy the Textile dialog box, and we type that in. We do that by typing style at the command prompt. Let it catch up there. So that's not a very intuitive command because there's all kinds of different styles in AutoCAD. There's your dimension style, your multi-leader style, you have table styles, and so typing in the word style doesn't seem very intuitive, and I believe that's because back when they were first creating AutoCAD, they could not foresee all the different directions that a software like this would go, and so they chose the word style to create text styles. You think you'd create the word text, you'd type the word text style, but just like, to bring up the dimension style dialog box, you type dim style, but it was before they had all that figured out. So here's our text style dialog box, and it gives you a standard text style. Now the reason we aren't going to modify that one and use it is because anything named standard in AutoCAD cannot be borrowed from drawing to drawing. Think of that standard text style as your template, your jumping off point. We will make a copy of that, rename it, and then change lots of things in there. So, well, not lots of things, but some things. So, with that highlighted, we're going to click New, and we're going to type Mech Text. Now, you can call it anything you want to call it. That's just what I do. So, we'll call it Mech Text, and because Mech Text is Arial, we don't have to change that. We'll use the regular font style. We aren't going to create this to be annotative. That goes beyond the entry-level CAD class. We will not change the text height. Anytime you create a text style, you should leave the text height to 0, because if you change that to a text height, let's say of 0.125 or 1/8 of an inch, that means when you deploy and use that text style, you will not be able to change the text height. So, for instance, you have a scale factor of 1 = 48. Your factor is 48. That means you go in and take your 0.125 height text and multiply by 48. And as you deploy that text style, you will use that new text height based on the scale factor. But if I put a number in right here, I cannot change the text height of my text when I deploy it based on the scale factor. So we always leave that at 0. We're not going to do any of these special effects upside down and backwards. We'll leave the width there, and we will not oblique it because we're not doing isometric or any kind of drawings like that. So that's good. I don't have to click the apply because it's already that. So now I'm going to click on this and go New. And I'm going to call it Arch Text. Again, you can call it anything you want. That's just what I do. Okay, so I'll click on my Arch Text, and I'm going to go down and select Stylus BT. These are all alphabetized, so you can get through there pretty quickly. Keep your eyes open, you can see it. Stylus BT, Arch Text is Stylus BT. We're going to go Apply. So now I have a Mech Text and an Arch Text. Those are my two text styles. So I'm going to close it out now. Now let's talk about deploying our text styles. Let's first talk about our single line or our Dtext. So I'm going to type in Dtext. There it is. I'm going to hit Escape. I can also go up to the Annotate tab, and I can get to them right here. Same thing. Now in my Dtext, I have a Justify option, meaning where do we want the text to be attached to the cursor? And let's go bottom left. Then the next thing that it will ask you to do is it will ask you to specify where that bottom left point is going to be, so I'll click on that. Then it asks you to specify your text height, 0.125. And then it asks you, do you want to rotate it? I don't. And then I'll type M mechanical text. Got to be able to spell there. And it'll allow me to do another line if I want. If I hit enter again, it takes me out of that command and it deploys the text onto the screen. Now, let me go back into the Dtext before I show you something else. So, the other thing we didn't do is we didn't change the style. We could have done that too. Notice this is not mechanical text. That's architectural text, because that's the last thing that was displaying when I closed my style dialog box. See that? Arch text is current. So I could switch it like that, set current, but I won't do it that way because I want to be able to show you the other way. So if I go Dtext, I can go Style, and maybe I can't remember how I named it. So I'm going to click on this, and I want to see the list, so I hit enter. And there's my list of available text styles. I've got annotative style, which we're not using. We have the arch text, the mech text, and the standard. We want to use the mech text, so I just want to see how that is. So I'm going to click right there, and let me see if it'll tell me to, let's go, yeah, it won't let me do that. It's just showing you. I forgot you can't do it that way. So let's just go back here to Style, and let's click on mech. It's important to type it just like it is. So now I have mech text, justify, we'll do bottom left again, and click right here, and 0.125, and no rotation, and I'll go mech text. See the difference? So that's how you can deploy a single line text. Now, I'm going to show you one other thing. I'm going to go back to Dtext, and we'll just click right here because all the other settings are going to stay as is. And I'm going to type, let's go %% U, and go mech text, and then we'll go %% U. And so click it beneath it, hit enter, and I'm out of it, or you could just hit enter twice. So what I just did is I use a special text character that gave me an underline under my mech text. And special text characters like underline and overscore have to be typed before and typed after, otherwise they don't, the typing before turns it on, the typing after turns it off. They're like toggling a switch on and off. So that is single line text. The other one we want to do is multi-line text. And I can go Mtext, and I can get to it that way, or I can go up here again to my Annotate tab and go multi-line text. And it's going to ask me, where's your first corner? And then it wants to know where the second corner is, but look at all these options down here. You can still access all these options there, but I don't want to. I'm going to click right here, because then once you click there, that opens up the multi-line text options ribbon. And so let's go arch text. Now, of course, that's not architectural text. It's mechanical because it's the last one we used. So we'll go up here, and we're going to put it on the arch text style. So notice how it changed. It looks like our stylus VT. Now we have all kinds of options up here. I can underscore it, I can bold it, I can italicize it, I can overscore it, I can do a strike through, and there's a few other things. I can also override the text style temporarily, the font I mean, what I want, the kind of font I want to use. I can also temporarily override the color, and there's a couple other options right there in your formatting. Let me double click back on it, because when I did that I left the multi-line text editor. I can also do justification. Hey, I want it middle center. Well, no, I don't. I want it, top left. And then we can do all of these bullets and numbering options, line spacing, and if you're used to using Microsoft Word, it looks pretty familiar, doesn't it? And then there's a paragraph editor right there as well. Close that back out. And let's type arch text. And so we can also create columns. And dynamic columns means they will change on their own. Static columns, they stay the same way. And as you can see here, I've created 3 columns. Of course, there's nothing in them yet because I don't have enough information there. Let's go back to 2, and we'll just leave it there for now. And then, of course, I can also have symbols. Remember that %% U? I typed in for underscore and overscore. Well, there's all kinds of other ones I can do. So I'm going to put a degree symbol. See that degree symbol after it? And I also want a plus or minus symbol. So you put all these symbols in here, a diameter symbol. We can also go to Other, and every font style has its own set of symbols that you can insert. It's taking a minute to load here. I'm not sure why it's taking so long. But there must be, 100 different font styles. So here's Arial. Let's go find Stylus BT because that's what we're in right now. So Stylus BT, they're alphabetized, and there it is right there. So these are all the different symbols that we can insert with Stylus BT. Most of these things I don't even recognize what they are. Let's put that one in. And select him, copy, close him out, and we will right click and paste. And there he is. Now I have enough stuff, I'm going to the next one there. So that's special fields. We can also do spell check. We can spell check our text if we want and ask it to find any problems we might have. We can also edit our dictionaries. We can do a find and replace if you have a large paragraph and you want to make sure you didn't put any have any spelling errors, or you used a word that you went, no, I don't want to use that word. They told me to change that word. So all the places that word appears, you can find it and replace it. We can turn our ruler on and off. There's a couple other options in there. And then when we're done, we close Editor. And so we have our text right there, and notice the multi-line text editor went away. The beauty of multi-line text is you just go back in there and you click on it, double click it, and you go right back in. If you want to edit your single line text, DD Edit will allow you to do that. Click on the text and you can edit it. Of course, you can also just double click it like this and edit it that way. So that is creating text styles and deploying single line and multi-line text commands.